This is The World According to Jen and Carolyn.
We're counting down here.
1.
Oh, hey.
Hey, girl.
I hear my family screaming upstairs. It's a post-baptism party.
Papa bonding.
Papa and child bonding. We just came from baptizing my child. Well, not just, but...
Hence our cool necklaces.
Yes. Wait, I don't have the necklace on, but I have a heat on.
No, you do. It's on.
Oh, yeah, I do have a necklace on. Shit. Okay.
And it's got a little dead Christ. So it's Catholic.
Yes. And you know what? So my kid is 7 and, clearly relate to the whole baptism deal.
That's all right.
It's all good because I can hear my child and my husband screaming upstairs, but ultimately my child came to the conclusion that he wanted to be baptized and he wanted to be Catholic.
Oh, really? That was his choice?
It was his choice.
You guys love that even better.
Yes. And I feel like consent is very important and I don't want to infringe anything upon my child. And so I think this worked out the best way it possibly could. And the church that we ended up at was a very accepting, progressive church.
Yes.
My best friend, or one of my best friends of 30 years, is trans, and they had absolutely no problem with this person being the godfather of my child. And that in and of itself was beautiful.
Yeah.
So
it was a lovely ceremony. I got yelled at. I got reprimanded.
You were misbehaving.
During communion.
The Jew crew was not behaving, but it's all good.
What can be done?
Absolutely nothing. And if you can tell by the way I'm speaking, I'm a little inebriated. I've had...
it's been a very sacramental wine day.
It has. I've had a lot to drink and not a lot to eat, but that's not what we're here to talk to you about. And I think my drunkenness is going to make this even better.
I think so.
Yeah, we're going to talk to you about Elon Musk today because we think it's important to talk to you about Elon Musk from daddy issues to DOGE. I call it DOGE because they're dodgy, but apparently it's DOGE. So who is Elon Musk? No, he isn't technically our president, but he may as well be. And I think a lot of us, especially those of us who live in California, are a bit confused about Elon's descent into MAGA madness. Wasn't he the guy who helped design the most popular electric car in an effort to save the environment from climate change? Or was it all rhetoric about saving the planet? Was all his rhetoric about saving the planet tied to his need to save humanity while amassing billions of dollars? I think it's all bullshit. You're going to find out it's all bullshit. This is like drunk history.
Well, I think it's important we were saying we're going to treat this as maturely and with as much decorum.
Look at the maturity.
Elon has treated democracy or whatever the fuck it is now.
What's going on behind me? There's all these donation
cool
clothes.
Shirts. Actually, really, that
there's
looks
some cool
warm.
shit going on.
That looks warm.
It's our donation thing. And my husband and my kid are yelling upstairs. It's the baptism excitement. But we're going to talk to you about Elon.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready
for this
ready. Drunken mess that is our Elon Musk episode? I'm going to drink whatever. This is a canned Mai Tai. I think this is probably the last thing I need. But
it might help.
I think it's going to lend.
Taught us anything is that if you keep drinking, it kind of helps.
I agree. 100%. So here we go.
All right.
Carolyn.
Yes.
Do you remember when Elon was a humanitarian, or at least espoused that he was a humanitarian dedicated to saving our planet from climate change?
I never really paid too much attention to him. even as a Californian. And I remember he was gonna end world hunger.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But that was
and
his
then
deal?
he changed his mind.
Okay.
He was gonna solve world hunger, and then he ended up buying Twitter. Or doing something. He did something with his money. But sorry. But it's X. It's gotta be X.
I'm never calling it X.
Yeah.
It's always Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Twitter.
It's like the Gulf of Mexico will stay the Gulf of Mexico. It ain't the Gulf of America.
Yes.
Anyway, but he always seemed to me like just some eccentric Silicon Valley dude.
Yeah.
And he also seemed like some dude who would have been like posing at like Balboa Cafe in the marina. And just, I got like super unhealthy narcissist vibes from him.
You're right.
And I feel like, but like I said, I feel like I didn't really care too much about him in general. He just seemed like a techie bro.
Yeah.
But then he kind of like ditched the Bay Area and everything that made him and went to Texas in 2021 and started talking mad shit and shade at California. That's when I started paying more attention. But before that, he was just some weirdo.
Yeah. He's an absolute garbage person.
Mm-hmm.
And let me read to you from an article, a Guardian article. Let me tell you about where he used to stand. So this is from a Guardian article. Concern over the climate crisis is seemingly no longer one of Musk's priorities, despite previously saying he is super pro climate. And in 2016, calling for a popular uprising against the fossil fuel industry because the world was unavoidably headed towards some level of harm. And the sooner we can take action, the less harm will result. Yeah, that's what he said. But when Trump removed the U.S. from the Paris Climate Agreement in 2017, Musk says he was quitting a presidential advisory body in protest. Climate change is real, he tweeted at the time. Leaving Paris is not good for America or the world.
Weird.
He has reportedly called for action to address rising CO2 levels, famously saying, "We are running the most dangerous experiment in history," which is to see how much carbon dioxide the atmosphere can handle. But that was probably all nonsense because Food and Water Watch reported, despite Tesla's climate bona fides as an EV company, its environmental track record is spotty at best. Fuck you, Elon. Since 2019, one Tesla factory alone has racked up over 110 air quality violations. Sweet. Another plant in Austin, Texas, leaked hazardous water waste untreated into the city's sewer system. According to public records, one environmental compliance worker said that Tesla reportedly asked them to lie to regulators so that they could operate without paying for proper environmental controls.
Yeah.
Rad.
Good job, white
While
boy.
Musk, while Musk has reportedly, where the fuck am I? Oh, there we go. Has boldly claimed Tesla has done more to help the environment than any other companies combined. Bullshit.
Yeah.
SpaceX, Musk's company.
So dumb.
I'm drunk and I can tell this is bullshit. SpaceX, Musk's company, launching both humans and cargo into space. I think he launched a Tesla into space. Released massive amounts of greenhouse gases with each launch.
Can he launch himself into space?
Yeah. Can you please just launch your bitch ass into space? These launches are in service of the company's stated mission of making humanity multiplanetary. Never mind our current fight to create a livable future on this planet. Whoa. Yeah, why don't we
diversify?
Let's first and foremost focus on what's going on this planet and how to take care of the folks who live here. Additionally, per Texas regulators, SpaceX has repeatedly violated the Clean Water Act and state regulations by discharging excess pollutants into waterways. Fucking sweet.
Not good.
The company makes a terrible neighbor. Near its launch pad in Brownville, Texas, residents suffer from the pollution and safety threats caused by multiple rocket launches a year. So Elon Musk is full of shit. If you didn't already realize this, we're going to give you the receipts to demonstrate that this is the truth. Around 2020, Musk's public profile began to shift. Okay, so he was like acting like he gave a shit about the climate, but clearly he didn't. But in his private life, Musk's relationship with his family were in turmoil.
Dude.
His relationship with Claire Bocher, better known as the musician Grimes, began to fall apart in 2021. Bocher, the mother of 3 of at least 12 children. I think he has 13.
He just had his 14th.
14th?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought we were on 13.
I think unless that was fake news.
Who knows?
Nothing's real.
This Grimes
Yeah.
eventually ended up in court over custody rights. At the same time, his daughter Vivian came out as transgender and changed her name, declaring that she no longer wanted to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form. Good girl.
Yeah.
Musk himself has cited Vivian as the reason for his political shift, telling the pop psychologist Jordan Peterson that he had lost his son, essentially, and concluding that his son is dead, killed by the woke mind virus. Oh, God.
That's us, right?
We're the woke mind virus. Now he spouts tons of vile rhetoric, including disparaging and inaccurate shit about the trans community and DEI. Here's some of his greatest hits, comparing Justin Trudeau to Hitler. Sweet. This is 2022. Musk tweeted a meme comparing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to Adolf Hitler in response to Canada's response to the trucker protests. Yeah.
Cool.
The tweet was widely condemned, and Musk later deleted it, calling a cave rescuer a pedo guy. This was in 2018. When British cave diver Vernon Unsworth, this is fucked, criticized Musk's submarine idea during the Thai cave rescue, Musk called him a pedo guy on Twitter. Unsworth sued for defamation, but Musk won the case, claiming it was just an insult, not a real accusation. Okay. Fucked up shit. Spreading anti-Semitic conspiracy theories, 2023. Musk endorsed a far-right conspiracy theory that Jewish organizations like the Anti-Defamation League were responsible for hating white people, causing an ad revenue drop on Twitter. Fuck you. He later had to visit Israel and Auschwitz to repair the damage. Go to Auschwitz, bitch. Learn what pain is. Defending Kanye West's anti-Semitic remarks. This is 2022 to 2023. Musk initially banned Kanye from Twitter for posting swastikas inside a Star of David, but later reinstated his account despite Yee's repeated anti-Semitic rants. He also engaged with white nationalist figures on X, amplifying these narratives. Awesome. Mocking gender pronouns. Musk has repeatedly mocked pronouns in the LGBTQ community, tweeting, "Pronouns suck. I absolutely support trans, but all these pronouns are an aesthetic nightmare." Okay, dummy. He later mocked corporate diversity efforts, saying the woke mind virus will destroy civilization. Cool. Spreading COVID-19 misinformation. Musk downplayed COVID-19, calling lockdowns fascist and falsely claiming that children were essentially immune. Great. He also, like Trump, mocked a disabled Twitter employee. Musk publicly humiliated Haraldur Hully.
Thorleifson?
Sorry if I fucked that up. Thorleifson. A Twitter employee with muscular dystrophy, questioning whether he actually worked. That's awesome. He dismissed safety concerns about AI in 2023. He insulted Bill Gates in 2022. Oh, Lord. So why the shift and why so quickly? Why did he go from this dude who seemed to really give a shit about the environment, claiming that climate change is real, to somebody who dissed trans folks and pretty much shit on efforts to save the environment from all of this nonsense? So experts think there's more to it than Elon's daughter coming out as trans, because a lot of experts are like, oh, his daughter coming out as trans? That was the turning point.
Ego injury.
Bullshit. This is from The Guardian as well. A radicalization expert, I want to be this.
That'd be cool.
Quoted in the article, who asked not to be named because of fear of reprisal, believes Musk at his core is a man with practically no principles except whatever will enrich him, and a deep need for attention and validation. It's worth noting he has rarely, if ever, experienced consequences for his actions and has found success in attempting to bully reality into conforming with his beliefs. Robert Zubrin, a leading advocate for human exploration of Mars, who said he helped introduce Musk to the idea of Martian expansion, he said, and in the past 2 years, Elon Musk has redefined himself from the white knight of environmentalists to a Bond villain. I see this.
All right.
Zubrin said that Musk's central motivation is the desire for eternal glory for doing great deeds. He wants to save civilization because he wants to be famous for fucking saving civilization. The desire for eternal glory for doing great deeds has motivated his primary accomplishments. Tesla and SpaceX, he added, but it also has a dark side to it, and this has been exploited. I agree.
Same.
Okay, Carolyn, to what extent does Musk's ego influence his perception of himself as a visionary or savior of humanity? Tell me, my drunken haze.
You get to rest. That was beautiful.
Enlighten me.
Like hands down, friend.
I am drunk.
You sit back. You sip that Mai Tai.
I'm ready.
I would say his ego can go to infinity and beyond.
Woo!
Right? I mean, here's what I think. You know, again, you can't say he isn't ambitious.
Yeah.
You can't say he's not confident. But you and I have watched enough about cults.
Yes.
And cult leadership.
Yes.
And industrial sociopathy and narcissism to know all of this feels as creepy as his handshakes probably feel, and slimy. He's like amphibious.
An aborted fetus who was permitted to live. He is disgusting. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's not. There's something just creepy about this. And I get that kind of villain thing. And so I'm going to quote a 2023 Counter Narcissist Intelligence article from Substack written by Sam Ray. There was a second part of this article, but you had to pay for it. I know it looked better, but so anyway, sorry. It's getting harder and harder to do research. You have to pay for all this stuff.
We're socialists. We don't pay for anything.
I know. No. So here's what Sam Ray had to say. And I really like this quote. So this quote, the simple answers to why many react viscerally to Elon is he has some very questionable sociological beliefs, like to troll a little too much. He is often unaware, amused by, and or doesn't care when words are harmful, cruel. There's gaslighting, or he's destructive. This is one of Elon's great paradoxes. And he is a paradox. I wrote later on, he's an enigma.
Yeah.
So Sam continues to say, I believe he wants to inspire and excite humanity into a bright technological future. But when he consistently undermines his own science leadership, credibility, and mission with unnecessarily toxic, unscientific conspiracies. So, he's two sides of a cuckoo coin. It's like he's super... He is, and like many...
I've never heard that before.
Cuckoo coin. Yeah, cool. That's a Carolinism, cuckoo coin. So I wrote he's an enigma because there's contradictions in how he interacts with critics, employees, and even the public.
That is primarily because he is opportunistic.
Yes.
And when you're opportunistic, you flip-flop a lot.
Yes.
Because you're going where the money is.
He's going where people will pay attention to him. And he positions himself as a free speech advocate, yet he has been known to silence dissenters. So he promotes himself as a problem solver, but then he also creates chaos, whether in corporate leadership, Twitter or X, or through impulsive public statements. Musk's ego likely reinforces his belief, this is Carolyn's belief, that he alone, and this is where I think sort of the grandiosity of like, this is a mentally ill person.
Oh, yeah.
But again, I've never met him, so I shouldn't probably say that. But, I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to do it.
To everybody.
Yeah.
Mental.
Well, and that's the thing. He puts himself out there enough. But, his ego reinforces his belief that he alone has the vision and the capability to steer humanity in the right direction. I think this is the type of person who can go either way, right? Yeah. And this self-perception can be both a driving force for innovation, but it's also like a glaring blind spot for him. Because he can't acknowledge any limitations and he can't acknowledge alternative perspectives. And I often feel kind of this hypothesis that when something wrongs him, that's what promotes him. That's what drives his cause. Oh, he got left out of something. Yeah. So he had to make it against, he got left out of the climate or the electric car shit.
So in 2021,
I knew you'd know this.
A conference at the White House with electric car manufacturers. Okay. And Biden did not invite Elon because Elon's fucking crazy.
Lincoln fired a Biden party.
That was his driving force to be like, fuck the Democrats. I'm going all in on this hardcore Republican bullshit.
Yep.
That's what I read.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, and my son, my firstborn son, or not actually, I don't know if it was his firstborn, is trans.
Son. Oh, that one. Yeah.
So now that's an affront to my ego, which actually has nothing to do with you, parent. But now I'm going to make this my, thing. And I will say too, that he did experience a horrific early trauma, I think actually in his firstborn son that died of SIDS. Oh, that's what brought him on the IVF route, which I didn't actually realize you can IVF out SIDS.
Oh, I didn't know.
I didn't know that either. Good to know. Interesting. But anyway, I don't know what that, to me, there's always like that turning point for someone. And so we're going to go into a little bit more of his childhood and all that stuff. But to me, that felt like that must be a very catastrophic thing to have happen, to lose your child. Yeah. So is that where he went cuckoo? I don't know. So anyway, so I stole this from a 2023 Brain Blog article that I actually categorically did not agree with. But I liked what they wrote about this. So writing and I'm going to say this is my, my asterisk. So writing a psychological profile on a public figure like Elon Musk without direct interaction and assessment is an exercise in speculative psychology. However, based on his public persona, behaviors, and achievements, I can draw some inferences. It's important to remember that such an analysis is not definitive and is limited by the lack of personal interaction and potential biases of public perceptions. I don't know him. I'm not hanging out with him in his room, but he's done a really good job of, I don't want to. But
we just really imagine him being all sad in his room.
I don't know what the fuck is going on. But anyway,
God only knows.
Here's a summary of an article called "Is Elon Musk a Psychopath?" from Exploring the Mind of a Visionary Innovator of article from Mind Psychiatrist. So the summary is that when you're understanding psychopathy, just as the nature of what that definition is, here's what we see. Psychopathy is characterized by traits such as lack of empathy, check, manipulative, check, superficial charm. I don't find him charming.
No,
apparently people do.
Some people do.
Check. Yep. Impulsivity and grandiosity. So I do think he does display, and I think a lot of experts and pretty much anyone in the public, any woman who's dated a narcissist kind of like
baby mamas. Yeah.
So here's his psychological profile, right? So again, you can't deny this is a very bright person. No good.
This tastes awful.
No, I'm not a big Mai Tai person.
It's Mai Tai in a can, and
too sweet.
My desire to maintain my buzz is at odds with the taste of this. Taste it. I want you to taste it.
Oh, something's wrong with that.
It's like suntan lotion.
That does taste like Hawaiian Tropic.
I will likely keep drinking it to maintain my buzz.
Oh, that is not
really
good.
Bad day tomorrow.
Oh, dear.
Keep talking.
So anyway, we can't deny that he is very innovative. He has made achievements. He's founded companies. Again, he does have a personality shaped by his early life experiences, and he does have a drive for success. But here's his manifestation of traits. His emotional detachment and risk-taking behaviors and decision-making suggest psychopathic tendencies. And he definitely has problems with his interpersonal relationships and that he pretty much destroys them. Yes. His public perception is not good. And also it varies widely, which that's always really polarizing to me when someone either really loves you or hates you. If you think of most of the people in your life, we can all agree like everybody likes them. Like I look at your husband, everyone fucking loves Bill.
He's an
not
anomaly, though.
polarizing.
Yes.
But most good people are. They
Yeah.
don't have different personalities.
That's
It's
true.
not a fucking shapeshifter.
I agree.
So, there's this duality of personal and public persona, and the way he flips so quickly on things, like big things too.
Because he is solely opportunistic.
Exactly. So the other thing is expert insight. So psychologists and psychologists emphasize understanding traits.
Psychologists and psychologists.
Sociologists and psychologists. That Mai Tai hit me.
Woo!
Sorry. Emphasize understanding. We have to look. You gotta look for traits. We're not trying to label individuals,
I am.
but they point out and this is what I found in a lot of the articles. They overshadow his like ambition and curiosity as like, ooh, he's unconventional. But it's like, no, dude. You're either fake as fuck,
Yeah.
or there's no, like, to me, he's one of those people where like there's no there. Like there's no core and that's what to me feels very psychopathic.
Yeah.
There's no humanity in him, or it's
I agree.
fake, or it's weird.
Yep.
And maybe it's the ketamine. I don't know. But
It
all
ain't
right.
the ketamine. This is just who he is. He's opportunistic.
Yeah.
His allegiance lies where the money is.
But there's
And-
money on both sides.
Yeah.
That's what's weird to me. It's like you could have money on both sides. There's enough money, but he's choosing to go with the money. Well, actually, that's not true. He's choosing to go with the capitalist money.
He's
of
choosing to go with
Bezos
dark
and
side.
The dark side.
He's going as Vader.
So there's a good article by Shortform, again, 2023, by Elizabeth Whitworth, and it's based on the work of Walter Isaacson. Do you know who he is?
No.
So he's a autobiographer, or a biographer that's written on like Steve Jobs and all these different kind of like out of the box white men.
Ooh, so different.
Yeah. And so he's the author of Elon Musk's biography.
Okay.
And has described Musk as a complex and mercurial.
Mercurial.
What the
You
hell is
got
that?
it? Yep.
Like mercutio?
Probably like
Mercurial?
I don't know.
What
Look
does
it
that
up.
mean? All right. So in 2025, Musk became a U.S. citizen, and Isaacson believes that Musk, along with men like Steve, I don't know why that was in there. Isaacson believes that Musk, along with men like Steve Jobs, Jeff Bezos, is an innovator. And again, you're seeing that like he's got a complex emotional landscape and he's resilient.
Okay,
so I don't really love Walter Isaacson's point. What does mercurial mean?
Okay, it means subject to sudden or unpredictable changes of mood or mind. Okay. All
That's
right.
kind of me on my.
That's a lot of us.
That's a lot of women.
Yes.
Anyway, so a lot. There's a lot of. I've never read the book, but he gleans over a lot of documented history. So Elon Musk's strategic and analytic abilities fuel his drive for groundbreaking innovations, and his early life challenges. Neurodivergent traits. I don't want to leave that out, but while he may have some of those things, I don't think that's the core of why he behaves the way he is. I know a lot of neurodivergent people.
Yes.
They are not psychopathic. They're not Nazi. So I don't like that. That has nothing to do with his unique way of processing emotion.
He's an opportunistic twat.
There's
it does
many
nothing
things
to do
going
with
on.
being neurodivergent.
So here's what Isaacson said in his analysis of Elon's psychology. And I do agree with this. So Musk struggles to understand emotions and relies on intense situations to ward off depression. His psychological makeup is shaped absolutely by childhood experiences.
Yep.
That mixed with his neurological traits and I think years of abuse and even some ancestral racism. Apartheid. So
his grandpa was trapped.
We're going to talk later about his childhood influences. I'm not going to go into that right now.
Yeah.
But everything I think that when a child goes through that, their emotional development and their coping mechanisms, that has a lot to do with it. And while Asperger traits may shape your emotional interpretations, I think that it's bigger than that. And we got a lot of drug influences in there. Here's what I think too. Musk doesn't savor success. He thrives on crisis situations. I do agree with that point that Isaacson made. Manufactures crises in his company, settling unrealistic deadlines to create bursts of productivity. And his psychological insights are, he represses emotions and can have psychological consequences. That's absolutely, I think that's someone who's gone through a lot of childhood trauma. I could see that being a reason. avoiding negative things that are disempowering. We see that with anyone that double crosses him. He has to one up them.
Oh, yeah.
And we know that, but again, I don't like when someone says, oh, well, if you're a trauma survivor, you're addicted to stress, you're seeking out crises to maintain equilibrium. I don't know that that's true for everyone. I don't want to give that presentation either. Talk to me, since I didn't talk about it, though, let's go deep into these daddy issues. Because I think that at the end of the day, psychopaths are raised. They're not born.
I agree 100%. And Elon, a lot like Donald Trump, appears to have these daddy issues and has publicly called his father out for abuse aimed at him and his siblings. And this wouldn't be a Jen and Carolyn episode if we didn't apply a clinical lens to Elon's behavior and tie it back to daddy. And this is big. And it's really unfortunate, I think, that we have these two deeply wounded men, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, wounded at the hands of their fathers who are now spewing their hurt and their bullshit on the rest of us.
Because they haven't processed and healed.
They haven't. No, they don't know how. So let's talk about Elon Musk, Elon's daddy.
He's a name.
I know. He's a South African engineer, consultant, and businessman. He was elected as an independent to represent Sunnyside on the Pretoria City Council in 1972. This is South Africa. So Elon Musk has publicly spoken out about his father, Elon Musk, in highly negative terms. Well, I'm drunk as fuck. Woo! Here are some of the most critical statements he has made, calling his father evil.
Yeah.
In a 2017 interview with Rolling Stone, Musk said, "You have no idea how bad. Almost every crime you could possibly think of, he has done. It's so terrible, you can't believe it." Accusing him of destroying their family. Musk has blamed Errol for tearing the family apart, saying, "My dad was such a terrible person. You have no idea." Again, you have no idea. "My childhood was not good. He was able to take over my brother and me for a period of time. Jesus Christ, I only wonder what that means." Calling him brilliant but awful. Despite acknowledging his father's intelligence, Musk criticized his character, accusing his father of financially ruining him. He was good at engineering, but also a terrible human being. Musk has claimed his father falsely tells people he helped fund Elon's ventures, stating, "He didn't support me financially after high school in any meaningful way. He paid for my tuition at a very inexpensive university in South Africa, and that's
Boo.
Wow. Reacting to his father having a child with his stepdaughter
that he started raising when she was 4.
This is some Woody Allen shit.
Yeah.
In an interview, Musk expressed disgust over his father having a child with his own stepdaughter, who Errol has raised since she was 4 years old. "It's completely insane," he said, calling his father a master manipulator. Musk once described Errol as someone who carefully plans evil, implying a deep level of manipulation and cruelty, saying he was abusive. Musk has suggested that Errol was emotionally and psychologically abusive, contributing to a very difficult childhood, calling his father a liar. He has stated that his father makes up stories about his past contributions to Elon's career, saying, "He tells people that he gave me money to start my companies. That is completely false," expressing that he tries to forget about him. In multiple interviews, Musk suggested he has cut off ties with his father and wants little to do with them. Overall, Musk has painted a deeply negative picture of his father, portraying him as manipulative, abusive, and destructive. Errol, in response to Elon, let's see what Daddy says about Elon. He critiques his parenting. In a podcast interview, Elon Musk stated that Elon hasn't been a good dad, criticizing his reliance on nannies and suggesting that Elon didn't spend sufficient time with his children. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Political aspirations, doubts. Errol expressed skepticism about Elon's suitability for politics, suggesting that his son is not cut out for politics due to challenges in dealing with a broad spectrum of people. Okay. Right. Not wrong. Okay, that was from The Independent. Public speaking criticism, defending Elon against allegations of performing a Nazi salute. Errol described his son as a terrible public speaker, implying that his gestures were misinterpreted due to his poor communication skills. Okay.
What would Errol say about us right now?
My communication skills aren't the best. I'm not going to hail Hitler. Whatever.
Yeah.
This is from the Times of India. Online behavior concerns. Errol has suggested the public to ignore Elon's controversial online comments, suggesting a disconnect between his son's statements and appropriate public discourse. Okay. Sounds like a totally healthy and functional father-son relationship, right?
I even read things that his dad committed murder, like people that tried to break into the house, his dad shot.
Dude, I don't know.
Did all kinds of crazy ass shit. And the way he treated the mother after she left him, like wouldn't give her food, like crazy ass shit.
I mean, what I kind of documented and reported on was just scratching the surface,
It's
I think.
bad, yeah.
From what I understand, he's a terrible human being. So do your own research. We always encourage you to do that. So, this sounds a lot like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And when you look at what Mary Trump, a psychologist, and Donald Trump's niece said in her book about Trump's relationship with his father, it sounds very similar. Mary Trump, a psychologist and niece of Donald Trump, as I said, has provided detailed insights into Donald Trump's relationship with his father, Fred Trump Sr., particularly in her book, Too Much and Never Enough. She portrays Fred Sr. as a high-functioning sociopath, whose relentless ambition and lack of empathy profoundly influenced his children. Mary asserts that Fred Sr.'s harsh parenting style led Donald to adopt a persona marked by arrogance and self-interest, suppressing emotions like kindness and empathy to avoid his father's disapproval. This environment, she suggests, fostered a family dynamic defined by cold, selfish cruelty. Sounds a lot like what Elon went through.
Yeah.
So, I think ultimately our country has been hijacked by a couple of wounded little boys who are scarred by the abuse that they experienced at the hands of their fathers. And in Donald Trump, I don't know Elon's mom, but Donald Trump's mom seems to be a cold
Elon's mom is
cold ass person.
One of the oldest cover girl. Beautiful.
Is she really?
Stunning.
She's a model, right? Okay. I don't know how she was as a mother, but I think that these two endured some deep psychological wounds.
Yeah.
That now the rest of us are fucking paying for.
Yeah.
So how does Carolyn, talk to us a bit. I'm in the abyss talk to us about how Musk's childhood trauma and relationship with his father kind of shaped his adult persona and leadership style.
Yeah. Well, in a nutshell, he was, again, highly intelligent, socially isolated, starting school early and struggling to make friends. He was bullied at school and endured verbal abuse, not just from kids at school, but his father at home. Like I said, his parents divorced when he was 8 and his mother worked long hours, leaving Musk and his siblings to fend for themselves. So this is where he and Donald really differ. Yeah. That I think Musk grew up, his mom, from what I could glean from articles, seemed to be a loving parent, but had to work because Errol wouldn't give her money. So it was a very his choice to go back and live with dad later on was because he wanted to have, he says, I wanted to read books. I think that was a quote that he wrote. But again, we know that when any parent abuses you and shuts down your emotions, you're going to have to develop some kind of a survival mechanism. Yeah. Like I said, he admits he has Asperger's. That's not something I'm projecting. And these traits do shape, as I said, emotional interpretations, making emotions intellectual rather than intuitive. Yeah. And, so you do see that he's talked about that. And I could see how having a child who is really hyper focused and very intelligent, but doesn't interact in a way that make sense to you. Right. And you're not acknowledging that. Well, you and I know both firsthand that doesn't make for a very happy relationship. Sure. But let's look even deeper than that. So I want to dive a little bit into his family history and with a genogram, because I see a lot of ancestral roots. Okay. So there's a great article in The Atlantic by Joshua Benton titled Elon Musk's Anti-Semitic Apartheid-Loving Grandpa, Joshua Haldeman. Yeah. Elon Musk's paternal grandfather held extreme right-wing views, including anti-Semitic and pro-apartheid stances.
Right.
He moved to South Africa in the 1950s, partly due to his support for the apartheid regime, and published a book in the 60s advocating for white supremacy.
Right.
While these beliefs were not universally in the family, they have sparked renewed attention, and especially considering Musk's own controversial statements.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back. So again, you've got this. We've seen how trauma can run ancestrally. We know racism does as well.
Yeah. Even though Elon's grandpa died when he was 3, I
But
believe.
that's how his father was taught. His father's a rampant racist.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
you grow up hearing these things, then you go through significant things. Who knows, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go back to that 2023 Counter Narcissist Intelligence article written by Sam Ray from Substack. Again, it's a 2-parter. I only paid for the first one. So Elon Musk, I was like, can't do 2 things. I'm on a tight budget.
Right.
Elon Musk's early life. So Musk's mother was abused by his father.
Okay.
And their divorce occurred when he was 9. Despite this, he chooses to live with his father at the age of 10, which he later regrets, calling his father evil. It's like Dr. Evil. There's like some real Austin Powers shit going on.
There really is.
It's very funny. Mike Myers played Elon Musk in SNL. You've got to see it. Public perception of Musk's Asperger's diagnosis. All right. So I talked about this before. Musk reveals he has Asperger's during his 2021 SNL appearance. While some saw this as a relatable trait, others were skeptical, arguing that Asperger's didn't just justify his controversial behavior. Again, critics like autistic writer Sarah Luderman felt Musk used autism to soften his image as a wealthy, heartless figure. That's pretty fucked up if you're doing that.
Yeah.
All right. So struggles with social cues. Musk's behavior often reveals autistic traits such as laughing nervously and misunderstanding social cues, humor, and emotions. His analytical approach, however, contributes positively to his work in design and engineering, but the impact of Asperger's on his life has led him to, again, he works in tech. He works in an area where that's not necessarily a bad thing. A lot of Asperger's there. But there's sort of
we're supposed to call it Asperger's anymore.
Asperger's. I don't think it is. It's just autism
on
spectrum.
the spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. His body language, monotone speech, limited facial expression, they all attribute to the diagnosis of autism. But as we talked about before, the inherent influence of childhood trauma, you cannot walk away from this. So this article suggested that while Musk's autism explains certain behaviors, it's really the narcissism. Narcissism. That's his coping mechanism. That's a really strong coping mechanism. You and I have both experienced that in our parents. That, when you have parental abuse, that's one way to go. That's a very self-protective. And that psychology results from interaction between you could hypothesize that sort of this combination of autism, childhood trauma, deep emotional wounds, wealth, success, praise, all the entitlement, all these things kind of were the new cocktail for the industrial sociopath.
That makes sense.
So, he's sorry, I forgot to cut this one out, but it's really funny. But he tweeted like fucked up shit to Greta Thunberg. Like, who does that? That's a child, right? Yeah. So anyway, so he did do an interview with Leslie Stahl on 60 Minutes. I didn't watch it, but he opened up a bit about his personal history and a lot of the things you talked about.
Okay.
All the childhood trauma. But, the difficult relationship with Errol obviously is strange. But I also pointed out to this, idea that bullied in school, loneliness and isolation, emotional struggles. But then you've got like all the ketamine use.
Look, we totally understand that ketamine might be a viable treatment option for folks who have PTSD, whatever.
Depression. And I'm not going to he uses it recreationally.
Right.
And I also think too that so now you're adding other things into the mix. Yeah. What's the word for the dudes though who think their seed populates the earth? Is there a word for that? These dudes who just fucking have kids willy-nilly.
Oh, fucking no. Those are quiverful families. That's and
I've heard people do
Duggar family
he's
shit.
polyamorous, but this isn't polyamory.
No.
This is a
different.
dude who thinks that and I think this is what the Musk family has been ingrained. Yeah. Is that they are better than. There's this really eugenics-y, the fact that he's really into IVF even. But he seems to like to have a lot of children.
Yeah, he does.
And that's again, not weird. Not saying that's not weird, but he doesn't seem to want to parent them. And then he doesn't love them in the way that,
I don't think
I'm
he
just gonna leave
knows
it at
what
that.
to do as a parent. I think he can procreate. He doesn't know how to be an actual parent.
But something's weird. It's like those dudes who like working IVF, but then they put their own sperm in all these women.
What was that documentary?
I don't know. It's a Lifetime
I love
movie,
it.
but like,
It's so good.
there's a name for this where
Yeah.
it's like they just think they're so wonderful.
It's a narcissistic
It's something
thing.
I really
Yeah.
think that this is narcissism.
Yes.
They
want
at
to
its
see
most unhealthy
Yes.
and pathological. This cannot be changed.
I agree.
Mixed with childhood trauma, throw in some ketamine, throw in some space.
It's
He's
a
all
fucking
over the fucking map,
narcissist
man.
party. Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Not someone who I want in
No.
politics
No.
at all.
No.
You want to be playing off in Silicon Valley? Cool. Have at it. Do not
even then it
have
has repercussions on-
politics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Please don't go
Oh.
in and start gutting Medicaid and Medicare
Yes.
and Social Security. We don't need that. You don't know shit about what you're doing.
Well, and this is what's fascinating because you would think two narcissists in one room and Donald's into it.
Well, I think ultimately Donald's going to be like, nope. I think
don't know.
they're
Something's
too alike.
Weird.
We'll see.
Anyway.
Let's see. 6 weeks. Let's talk in 6 weeks.
All right.
James Carville. He thinks it's going to implode. I tend to agree with James.
All right. I hope so.
He's a raging Cajun motherfucker. Woo! Let's keep drinking. Keep talking.
Whee! That's all I got.
That's all you got? Okay. So from here, we're moving on to DOGE, which we like to call Dodge because they're dodgy as fuck. So let's talk about the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and the Trump administration, which have faced numerous lawsuits challenging various policies and actions. So notable legal challenges include foreign aid freeze. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to release funds for foreign assistance programs contracted by USAID and the State Department. The ruling came after the administration attempted to freeze up $3 trillion in federal grants and loans, a move criticized as ill-conceived and irrational. Yeah, I agree. Secrecy and authority of DOGE. Multiple lawsuits and judicial hearings have scrutinized Elon Musk's role in the activation of DOGE. Critics allege that DOGE operates with excessive secrecy and may wield unconstitutional power. I don't disagree. Ethics and transparency violations. The American Federation of Government Employees, Public Citizens, and the State Democracy Defenders Fund filed a lawsuit against President Trump in the Office of Management and Budget. Office of Management and Budget, by the way, is being currently headed up by somebody who is a Project 2025 author. Just thought you should know that. The suit alleges that DOGE violates laws requiring advisory committees to maintain balanced membership and viewpoints. Let's talk about privacy rights concerns.
Ugh.
Two lawsuits have raised serious concerns about potential violations of legal privacy protections by DOGE members, particularly regarding their unprecedented access to government systems. That's right. This is from the Center for Democracy and Technology. Then we have diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI contract banned. A federal judge issued a preliminary injunction blocking the Trump administration's attempt to ban DEI training contracts. The judge criticized the ban, highlighting its potential to cause significant economic and social impacts. That's right, bitch. This is from Forbes. So since Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency began its reforms in January 2025, approximately 30,000 federal employees have been laid off as part of efforts to reduce government size and spending. Some of the most notable layoffs, let's talk about this. Get the Department of Agriculture, y'all. 4,200 probationary employees were terminated, including about 3,400 from the Forestry Service.
Seems like a really bad idea.
Yeah, especially, we're in California. let's talk about the wildfires we've been experiencing. Not fucking ideal. Department of Energy, 1,000 probationary workers were fired, nearly half of them people who were managing the power grid for the Western U.S. So around 2,800 were fired, including 1,500 probationary employees at the National Institute of Health, just one day after RFK was confirmed as the Health and Human Services Secretary. I don't think that's a coincidence.
No.
Yeah, this motherfucker.
Dude.
Department of the Interior, 2,300 probationary workers were fired, including 1,000 of the National Park Services. We have the Department of Justice, more than 20 employees involved in January 6 investigations. No coincidence there. And criminal prosecutions of Trump were fired. No fucking coincidence. Let's talk about the Department of State. More than 10,000 probationary workers were fired from or put on leave by the Agency for International Development, including at least 1,600 workers who were terminated after a federal judge ruled on February 21st that the administration cuts were legal. Fuck you. Department of Transportation, 400 probationary employees. Department of Treasury, 6,000 probationary workers. Department of Veterans Affairs, 2,400 of the department's 43,000 probationary employees received termination notices. So managing government agencies like corporations can create significant challenges. As the goals and operations of the public sector differ from those of private business. Corporations are primarily driven by profit motives, prioritizing efficiency and shareholder value, while government agencies are tasked with serving the public good and addressing broader social needs. So this is the difference between the private and the public, y'all. And there are a lot of folks, and this includes Democrats and Republicans, who have tried to institute ideas and ways of managing that coincide with the corporate ideology, instead of looking at the government functions and ideology. And the two are often incongruent. And I work in local government, and I can tell you from my perspective, local government in our neighborhood or our area has been designed primarily to support equity and inclusion. And so it seems quite apt that the Trump administration has said, fuck all this nonsense. Because for at least during the Biden administration, they have been trying to create government efficiency that also lifts up equity and inclusion. And so you have the Trump administration being like, nah, fuck this noise. So, you know, we even have the Social Security Administration's closure of offices after leadership changes under DOGE that highlight how such corporate style management undermines critical services for vulnerable populations.
That's who's being fucked.
Always. It's always the most vulnerable. It's always the most low income. It is always the people who have been
children and the elderly.
Children, elderly, mothers. They're being fucked.
Oh, but don't have an abortion.
Oh, yeah.
But
absolutely.
Once you have the baby, we're not going to help
No,
you.
That's the thing. They only care about the fetus once the child is born.
They don't care about Cletus.
Yes. They don't care about the fetus, but not about Cletus. Fuck that noise. So simply put, managing government agencies like private corporations, it doesn't work. No. And moreover, it puts, as we said, vulnerable people at risk of losing life-saving services. You know, like my mom, who lives off her Social Security and utilizes Medicare. This is my mom is somebody who worked hard her entire life, both her and her now deceased husband. They worked so hard. And my stepfather got a terminal diagnosis of brain cancer, and they were put in a position where they had to care for him at their own cost, thousands of dollars out of their own pocket after working.
Because it's considered a privilege, not a right.
Absolutely.
Your life.
And this is absolutely contrary to other developed countries who are like, oh, you're sick. we're going to take care of you. You paid into the system your entire life. You worked your entire life. We're going to take care of you in your final days.
Yep.
That is not what the United States does.
No.
And that's disgusting.
Well, and this guy is, I think, the thing that overarches all of this.
Yeah.
This is not an elected official.
No, absolutely.
This is like you and I, like, hey, our friend's coming over to our house.
Yeah.
But they're in charge now.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
as a government worker, who people have to work their whole lives, and even I just what?
I know. It's
It's bizarre.
As a civil servant, this is absolutely
like a fuck you.
egregious to me. This would be like somebody coming in from the outside and being like, demonstrate what you do in a day.
Yeah.
Like, prove that you're actually working. And we are going to, I believe, very quickly see how fast things fall apart when you don't have these government employees doing the things that need to be done to support not only the most vulnerable, but look at USAID, right? Look at the people who are growing food for the USAID program.
Yep.
Who are now saying, what the fuck is happening?
But it was all there. And this is where you and I get upset.
I know.
It's like the challenge of not saying I told you so, but when you're chipping away, you're not even chipping away. He's literally hacksawing.
Yeah.
And I think, didn't he do that?
Yeah.
Like he had like a bulldozer or not.
He had a chainsaw.
Weirdo.
Which was hilarious considering the situation, because he's hacking away at essential services.
That's gonna have repercussions. If you're
Absolutely.
sitting there thinking, oh, well, I'm not on Medicaid.
Yeah.
You don't think that's going to do you not understand anything? And no, you don't, because none of Americans don't have to understand civil service and civics the way that even we require immigrants to understand that.
Yeah. In order to pass a test to become a citizen. And to me, this is so egregious. It's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It's hacking away at supportive services that are ingrained and essentially ingrained. And the people who are hacking away at these things, like Elon and his boys, they don't understand. No. And there is a Republican, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but he stood up and said, you know what? USAID is something that was agreed upon by both Democrats and Republicans. And this isn't this isn't a humanitarian thing exclusively. This is global security. And my hope, I guess, my final thought is, my hope is that more Republicans stand up and say, this is egregious. And look at what happened on, I think it was Friday, when Zelensky came into the Oval Office to talk to Trump and Vance, and the treatment that he received. My hope is that people not only see this, but say, what the actual fuck? This is a very clear ass kissing.
I don't know how much more clear it has to get, though.
This can't get any clearer. Like, this was a clear ass kissing of Vladimir Putin, an imperialist dictator. And you are standing there criticizing Zelensky for defending his people. Yep. This is a hero. This is somebody who said, Putin, Russia invaded my country, a sovereign country, and we are doing everything we can to survive. And the
3
US,
years ago, though.
Yes.
For 3 years, this has been going on.
Yes. And the US now saying, contrary to what the Biden administration did, which was support, justifiably so, Ukraine's right to defend itself. Now we have a president who is saying, you're the aggressor. You're the dictator.
Beyond.
It is fucking egregious.
Yeah.
And if you don't see how fucked up this is. And granted, Elon wasn't in the room, so we're deviating a bit from our topic tonight.
But it's all the same
at
shit.
the same time, these are oligarchs.
Yes.
These are people who solely want to see the U.S. in control. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. This is isolationism circa World War I. And we all saw how badly that went. I'm hearkening back to my my history lessons from a long time ago. This is not a fucking good idea. We are on a very negative path that could end up putting us in World War III. And mark our words, this is not Zelensky's fault.
No.
This is the fault of Russia and the United States. If we do unfortunately end up in a situation where we are in a global skirmish. And I am concerned.
I don't think Russia and China is going to have our back.
I think China will have Russia's back. And that's the problem, because Russia on its own cannot defend itself. China and Russia together, I'm afraid. And we say all this to say that, you know, when we look at somebody like Elon Musk, he is opportunistic. He is Rasputin without the flair. At least Rasputin was having some good ass orgies. He is Grima Wormtongue from the Lord of the Rings series. Like, this is very sick. And our next episode is going to be on oligarchy and how the United States has always, to an extent, been influenced by oligarchy and oligarchs. But now what we're seeing,
it's crystal
in the
clear.
open.
And if you don't see it, then wake the fuck up.
Yeah.
And
pay
stay
attention.
the hell away from me.
Yes.
Because you are not my friend.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And so Elon is one of those people who is entirely and totally opportunistic.
Yeah.
And only cares about enriching himself.
Yeah.
And
some uterus near you.
Yes. And you want to be a baby mama number 14? He's got you.
Thanks.
Yes. But also at the end of the day, Elon and people like Elon are there to support what we think is a dictatorship, an administration that is predicated on enriching itself financially, that cares nothing for you and me and the cost of eggs. So don't get it twisted. This person doesn't give a shit about you. This person being Donald Trump. No. Elon Musk does not give a shit about you.
Sorry.
Yes.
But
so
we do.
We do. We care. We can see the hypocrisy very clearly. And we hope you do as well. So Elon and Trump have some serious daddy issues to contend with. We are very tired of them taking it out on us.
Yep.
And the sooner you realize that these two troubled individuals are trying to loop us all in to their quest for supremacy, the sooner you all realize that this is a ploy, the better off we all will be.
Yep.
These are my drunken words for you. And I hope you take them to heart, motherfucker.
I'm going to sing us out Les Mis style.
Woo!
Do you hear the people sing? Singing the... I don't
Keep
know the rest
doing
of the words. Da, 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 da,
What's the tiger? And the tigers come at night. I'm going to go Susan Boyle on you.
I made you listen to that when
I
you
dream a
broke
dream that cannot die.
Also, can you play that song? Jen's like, I just got dumped. Remember that?
Oh, after I got dumped in high school.
And I was like, can you play
college.
I Dream a Dream? Jen's like, what's wrong with you, bitch?
No, I don't want to hear this shit. Anyway, fuck your Drew Lloyd Webber, but also fuck Elon Musk and Trump more.
Viva la revolution.
We hope you enjoyed our drunken
We're so sorry.
baptism episode. We're going to listen to it and determine whether or not it's fit for publication. Carolyn is playing with her rainbow
If
rosary.
a Jew can wear a rainbow rosary,
Yes.
I don't know what else. But
That's right. That's right. We love y'all.
we love is love.
Love. was love. Follow us all on TwatJC and all the other places where we're at. And we love you. Bye.
Bye.